Hello, Earful Tower listeners. Oliver G here. This week we have a fun chat about Paris with Vanessa Grall, better known as Messy Nessy, from the hit website and social media accounts Messy Nessy Chic. Now, she's been in Paris for 15 years, but only this month has she opened an actual shop, a cabinet of curiosities. In fact, it's called Messy Nessy's Cabinet. Sells all kind of things from books and antiques to Parisian nostalgia. But the object that has got people talking an awful lot is the little bottles of Seine water. Now, when I say bottles of Seine water, I mean literally she's gone down to the Seine from her shop on Rue de Bièvre, so not far from the Notre Dame. She's gone down, filled up a jug with river water, filtered it, and put it in little glass bottles with wax seals on top. And boy, oh boy, has this got people talking. I asked her about it. I asked her about Paris, people watching her shop and her account. And I think you're going to enjoy this chat, which we recorded just across from her shop in the little park on Rue de Bièvre. Be sure to go into the shop, say hi to Vanessa, and if you're quick, you'll find our children's books there too, all of them signed. So here comes Vanessa from Messy Nessy Chic. This is the Earful Tower. This show, as always, is brought to you by the Patreon supporters on patreon.com/the Earful Tower. And let's get into it. Vanessa, how you doing?
I'm good.
Do you hear the birds above us?
Yeah, I feel like this is, what's that Hitchcock movie?
The birds. It feels like they're descending upon us. Hey, listen.
I don't think he likes that we're recording.
No.
He's like, no podcasts allowed here.
Well, too bad, pigeons. We're doing it. It's really nice to sit down and talk with you, and I'm excited to chat about Paris. And I want to start, before anything, with this viral marketing idea that you had about the Seine, because I think it's brilliant. In your own words, why are you selling the Seine?
Oh, why am I selling the Seine? I'm always trying to be a bit more imaginative, like challenge myself to be more imaginative with the basic things that we see every day. And in the case of a shop in Paris, along the Seine, we want to sell, something to the passing tourists. So souvenirs, and probably the most obvious souvenir is a plastic Eiffel Tower, and I just thought something a bit more memorable, something. I think people used to travel around the world and maybe like bottle sand or earth where they come from, so a plastic Eiffel Tower feels like it's made halfway across the world. I think a souvenir means to me like picking up something from the place that you've been. I'm also a stone's throw from the Seine, so when I was thinking about what I want in my shop, I thought about the Seine. Okay, the Seine, and I think the Seine is kind of like a highway of Paris. It's like its main artery. It's a highway of activity, and it has so much history, more than the Eiffel Tower, I think. So it just kind of popped in my head. I didn't ask myself if it was legal. I didn't ask myself.
Have you asked? Is it legal? Do you know? Have you asked since?
I don't know.
What's the worst that happens? What happens? Anne Hidalgo comes and knocks on the door and says, "Give it back."
I think she's got too much to do, but I don't know if I care.
Yeah.
Because it's such like they're such small batches. It's all in good humor. I'm not too serious about it. And I think it makes people laugh. Like, I see the reactions of locals. That's what means most to me, actually. Even if the locals aren't the ones that are going to buy it, I see the reactions of locals when they're walking by and stop in the window, and they're definitely amused. And I think they appreciate that it's something different. And I recently was on Tumblr and saw that Marcel Duchamp in the 1920s bottled Parisian air.
There you go, yeah.
So I thought, well, maybe he would think it's a good idea too. So I'm fine with that.
You know what? He maybe was. Air is very easy to fake.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen the videos of you down there with the jug and scooping up the Seine water.
So we're on our second batch now because the first batch sold out.
Where are you sending it? Are people coming into the shops or shop?
People are coming into shop. Oh, definitely not sending it out. No, people are buying it in the shop. It's only available at the shop. But the first batch, I think I was putting a few bottles in the window, and there's some kind of reaction with the light. And so in the first batch, a few bottles that were in the window and exposed to light, you started seeing green algae after 2 weeks. So if anyone wants proof that it's actually Seine water, it definitely is. And I think some people will either be grossed out by that, or they'll think, oh, well, it's definitely Seine water and that's really cool. It's kind of like, what do you call those terrariums, or a bio, I don't know. You just sort of watch it grow. Yeah. But the second batch, we filtered it a few more times. So
you're just putting it through like one of those Brita filters, like again.
Coffee filters. I get it in a Brita filter, put it through the Brita filter, and then put it through coffee filters about 4 or 5 times.
And the video that you made of a beautiful video, like everything you do on social media, really lovely. I read through, so many people viewed it and commented on it. I read through, some people got really angry.
Yeah.
Firstly, like when you did this idea, you knew that people would get angry, surely. I mean, same with anything on the internet. When you read their comments saying like, "Oh, that's disgusting. There's this and that, and why would you want this in your house?" What's your reaction to it? And do you respond?
I was quite surprised that people would have a reaction to Seine water. I didn't realise that it was such a political topic, but I mean, I guess in this day and age, everything has the potential to be a political argument. But because I've been online for quite a few years, first on the internet and now on social media, I definitely have a buffer for all this, the comments. I take them on board. I do try to read them the first sort of few hours. It's also important to respond to the really nice comments. Don't want to let those sort of, dwindle. So my policy is just not to respond. There's no point in arguing with people on the internet. There's just better things to be doing.
I agree with you 100%. The idea is great, and it brings us to the shop, which is brand new, really. I mean, like 2 weeks or something?
Yeah, but brand new doesn't feel brand new to me. I mean, I want it to look like it's always been there. Right. That's a real, but it's a brand new adventure for me. But it was, for 15 years, it was a painter's studio. He's one of those rare painters in Paris that would paint his paintings in his studio and sell them out of the shop. And I used to walk by all the time because I live at the end of the road. My kids play in this park, and I used to walk by and see him painting in there. He's a very elegant man, and he's a specialist of the Seine. Seine at night. He says he's kind of the only person in the world to paint the Seine at night en masse. I don't think that's the word, but whatever. And one day, I was walking by with my kids, and I saw a sign in his window saying "Bail à céder," which basically means lease is up for sale. And I was like, okay, that is a sign. That's a sign for me. I had to move offices anyway because our lease was up at the office, and I was either just going to go to another office or try something new. And I'd also seen him so much. I used to capture him a lot on my little people watching videos.
Is he the guy that you bought a painting off once? I remember you did a video.
No, that was another guy. Yeah. I need to find him again. I have this sort of encyclopedic knowledge of the people in the area.
When you make those videos, is it from where you live? Is that what you're doing?
It's from my old office on the 3rd floor.
Right.
I live on the first floor.
Okay, so you're taking... Do you, like... I was thinking about this the other day. Do you just take pictures of anything interesting and then gather them together? So for people who haven't seen it, you should check out Messy Nessy on social media. It'll all be linked below. But it's like videos of... Like for Father's Day, it's fathers doing nice things. For, you know, you did one about the marinière shirts.
Those are kind of... I feel like those are sort of fillers. I really enjoy doing... incredibly complicated ones. Those are the ones that I like doing. Like, for example, matching two people that are wearing something really similar and putting them side by side. What I would call that, two Parisians, one look. That was, and that is from years of filming the Place Maubert and just remembering those faces. Because when I'm filming people, I mean, it's people watching. I'm looking at them. I think people watching is about looking for yourself in others. So when I see people, it's not just because I think they have a cute outfit on. I see them because I see something in them. I see something in the way they're walking or their look, or I'm imagining a story about that person. I'm making up a story about their life, about someone I don't even know. And I think that's why I love people watching. So
it's kind of like a storytelling, a passive storytelling, people watching.
And Paris is, you know, kind of the place to people watch, especially.
How is Paris? Like, I agree, but why? Why is it not London or Rome, or why is it not even Marseille? What is so fantastic about people watching in this city? I mean, really, like, they're just people.
I mean, I think Parisians make Paris. People made these buildings, people made these beautiful parks, and they paint these beautiful shop fronts. So there's something artistic in Parisian people and romantic and bohemian, and I don't know, there's something a little bit... I don't want to say there's something special about Parisians, because everyone's, you know, every place has something special about it, but I don't know if I can.
No, I think there is something special about Parisians. I think it must be what drew you to, or maybe it's the city. I'm curious about, on the subject of the city, I've got a question that I don't know if it's too niche, but it's something that I can really relate to, and I'm curious about your approach on it. Is you do a lot of sharing of like the curiosities, not just Paris but beyond, but especially Paris. And you've been here for 15 years, you've been collecting curiosities for a long time. How do you navigate between things getting so niche that it's too niche and knowing that something will be popular? Because at the end of the day, what you're doing is a business. You need people to consume the content or whatever. Is it a fine line, or do you just go as niche as it gets?
I honestly just write about or cover whatever interests me or I find aesthetically interesting or beautiful. Or I'm not necessarily I'm not trying to forecast trends, although sometimes it does feel like it. Something I write about on the website often sort of becomes like something that's replicated in the fashion industry, or I don't know, a few years later. But there's some sort of niche things in collecting and curiosities that don't interest me. You know, I don't like to go too dark in the sort of curiosity world. Not that interested in Gothic, for example. Not too interested in stamps. But, you know, I like what I like, and just happens, I love everything that makes me feel nostalgic. I know people say it's not good to be nostalgic, but I am a hopeless nostalgic. I love things that make me feel like I'm in a movie, or, you know, I just like to be a bit more... I've always sort of liked to be playful with the way that I present things. And
so you don't ever have a moment where you're like, no, this is too off the beaten path? I had, you know, your shop is on Rue Bièvre, Rue de Bièvre, the river, another river, the old river. I got a little bit fascinated by it, and I found myself, have you ever been under the post office on Cardinal Lemoine, where they okay, so on the it's super vague, like it's on the third full moon of every 6th year or something. No, it's like the second Tuesday of every second month or something. They open up the downstairs, and 2 floors down they found in the late 80s a stone archway that was part of the old Philippe Auguste wall, which is one of my main obsessions, that the Bièvre used to run through. And they discovered it in perfect condition 2 floors down. And I went down there and I got so excited. I had a picture of myself there with my arms up in the air. And then I shared it, and that was when I had a realization that I maybe went too niche. And I know some people liked it, but I think a lot of people were like, hey, I'm not here for underground arches.
Okay, I see what you mean in terms of Paris.
Yeah.
Like, this is too... Yes, I think there are some things that are probably only of interest to locals, but I don't write in French, so that's also a problem. But I think someone should cover this stuff. If I don't, then I hope someone else does, like you. There is an audience for it. I mean, my books, I think, have a mix of really niche stuff and less niche stuff. I think with my articles, I've also, with social media as well, when I write an article, I'm very aware now that someone can come along and make an article I've spent a day on into a 30-second video, and then it's just sort of feels a bit, you know. So I'm trying. The internet is just like moving at breakneck speed, and I'm trying to navigate where to go next with the site. And I think that's probably why I opened a shop.
It's funny. I was going to say that because it's like the internet's moving so fast that you hit the brakes and were like, what do they say? Brick and mortar. That's maybe the go back.
Which almost might seem like a regression, but for me, it's just it's an experiment. Although I do hope that this is a forever home for Messy Nessy Chic.
Well, let's talk about it, because for me it's interesting. I think you're quite a private person, even though you share, you share so much onto the internet. You're quite a private person. As I understand, this is your second podcast of all time.
Yeah.
Going great so far. But then to say, and knowing you have, I don't know how many millions of people are following your work, and then to say, hey, I'm going to be in a shop 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, or at least there's going to be a shop with my name on it. Does that, it's kind of an unexpected move, I think.
Yeah, I definitely had to come out of my shell a bit more.
How does it feel?
Well, I've only had wonderful meetings so far. There might be a bad egg that comes in and will ruin my day, but that's life. But I've really enjoyed meeting, especially the kind of expat community who have just been coming in and saying hi, which has been so nice. I've always kind of hung back from the expat community in Paris. I don't know, I've always been someone that sort of socially puts my foot in my mouth. Right. So I thought, I'm probably not really needed here. And but I think coming out of an office, coming out from behind my screen is good for me. It's good for my personal growth as well. So and also being a shopkeeper, it's really amazing. It's kind of, I feel like I'm reaching a level of belonging to this city it's like a video game, and I've sort of reached level 10.
I get it.
Standing outside in the doorway when a local comes by and I know them and we chat, it just feels so... I feel like I'm part of the city, and I feel like I'm potentially, I've carved a little piece for myself in the city. It's really lovely. I mean, there's a lot of growing pains for the shop. Obviously, I'm trying to figure out how to be a bookshop, how to be... Not that we just have books, but ordering books is just a nightmare. There was a hilarious scene yesterday when I was trying to gift wrap something for someone. I mean, the poor guy, he knew exactly what he wanted. He saw it in the window, these nice little miniature paint palettes by Lillian May. And he came in, he knew what he wanted in 2 minutes, and I proceeded to make him wait for about 20 minutes while I wrapped. It was like that scene from Love Actually when Rowan Atkinson's wrapping the gift.
Was he in a rush as well?
Oh yeah, he was in a rush. It was really, I felt really bad for the guy. But a lot of the people that have been coming in know the website, know me. So it feels like if it's expats, it's really nice to meet them and feel, like actually I am part of this community. And if it's readers or long-time followers, it feels like family.
You know what's interesting is like people that work mostly online, and same with the podcast, it's online. There's a footprint there, and there are people who follow it, people who like it, people who are in the community. But when you don't see them, it's hard to even fathom what's going on. And so for you having a shop and being able to meet these people who've been following silently, because the majority of people who follow your stuff, I bet, never put a comment, or even a like. They're just there, and then suddenly they come in and they're lovely, and after all these years, it's like you've got this tangible community.
Yeah. I definitely have to get used to the whole praise, because I'm really bad at taking compliments, and I'm still like trying to figure out how to respond to. But it's such a different, it's just getting offline has been such a treat for me. So I couldn't recommend it more. I think more people should open brick and mortars, really.
Me and Lena always talked about doing something like that, although I feel like the administrative side of it frightens me.
There's, other than the accounting, there's not...
Frightening.
Yeah. But, I mean, I have to say, I have a French husband who's really, really helpful in that respect. Only because he pushes me to do it. Otherwise, I would just leave it to fester.
Well, let's talk about the shop. We haven't really talked about what's in there. We know that there are books. We know that there's Seine water. But there's also curiosities.
Yeah, there's curiosities. There's literal curiosities. I've got cabinet of curiosities. Shadow boxes with strange insects. I've got Hemingway's fly collection. I've got
fly as in fishing lures,
fishing
right?
Collection.
I thought it was like like dead flies.
No. There's a guy. A guy who used to fish with Hemingway's son, a very good friend of his, and he lives in the 6th, and he has this whole entire apartment filled with sort of cabinet of curiosities things, and you can't move, and I just basically, he's my source. So I've got things like that. Then I've got books that are reflective of things that I've written about on my site over the years, unsung heroes, Paris people, flaneur, then friends, expat friends who have written books, your books, you guys just came in one day, and I had been hearing about, I think at least 3 people came in before you came in to tell me, the Earful Tower, he's got these kids' books. And obviously my ears pricked up because I'm a mum. So, and immediately I saw your books, and they reminded me, I hadn't read them yet, but visually your wife's incredible illustrations reminded me of Bemelman's kind of vintage illustrations. So, and I immediately had to have those. So it's not necessary, having these kind of dark curiosities, but it's also
light curiosities for children as well.
Yeah, but also Parisianness. That I'm reading you what it says from top to bottom on the side panel of my shop, because I'm looking at it here from the park. So it says curiosities, but then there's books and antiques and Parisian nostalgia. So Parisian nostalgia and time travel below, but Parisian nostalgia I think is a nice umbrella for things that don't necessarily fit into curiosities or books, but sort of things that remind you or make you think of Paris of yore.
What's your plan to get more stuff in the shop eventually as you
well, it's not that big, so I
mean like over the years, are you thinking like knocking on doors of interesting people or going
yeah, I mean I still have so many people to tap into. I've just got these incredibly beautiful miniature curiosity cabinets that are made by an artist called Maïssa Toulé. She lives in the 11th, and she has this perfectly tiny little art studio, and she makes literally miniature cabinet of curiosities, and she's incredible. And I'd like to work with more artists. I do have Monsieur Gauguin, the artist that was in the studio before me. I have his paintings still in the studio. I have in the window his old paint palette and a little card telling his story. So I definitely like to work with more artists. And then just thinking of more, I want to have more of those aha moments like Seine water and playful souvenirs. I made some fun sweatshirts and caps called, I'm calling it the Paris People Watching Club, for the fans of the People Watching videos.
Can people buy stuff online?
They can buy the sweatshirts and caps online and my books online. But I don't want to spend my days like shipping.
And you're back on the internet again.
Yeah, exactly.
Back on the internet doing internet-based orders and hanging out in the post office. Okay, so I think for people in Paris, you want to come down and say hello to Vanessa. And what's the exact address on?
19 Rue de Bièvre, which is... Bièvre is named after the lost river of Paris, which was an arm of the Seine.
Do you think they'll bring it back? Wouldn't that be cool?
I know, there's a lot of things that they should bring back, but if in short of that, you can trace its, you can listen to your article, or I think we put an article about it about 10 years ago. I should probably read up on it again.
I feel like the Bièvre, I feel like it's one of those things that's so fascinating but not tangibly interesting. Like when you do the walk, it's not like it's so you have to use so much imagination.
Yeah.
Whereas other things, like I mentioned the Philippe Auguste wall, you can find bits of it and you go there. But that one, the Bièvre, is so...
Well, there's the street art, the street art community that kind of follows the old path of it. There's the medallions. And then also on this street, every other day, the sewage goes in the gutters, and it's actually quite clean. And I like to think of it as little. I think I'm going to put a little arrow on the facade of my shop with an arrow saying "the lost river of Bièvre" to look at the gutter, and that.
Get some jars out, and you can add to your collection of the.
Yeah.
There you go. The other thing I wanted to end on is. The recent podcast guest, Christophe Lucien, I think you and him would have a lot in common. Him and you both selling curiosities of Paris, the guy from the auction antiques.
He would be a dream customer. I would love for him to come in. And I mean, I have a lot of... You asked me that the first time you came in, who would be my dream customer. And I didn't really know the answer to it, but he would be a dream customer.
He might be listening.
Yeah, please come see us. Or Fran Lebowitz.
Okay. Well, there you go. Two people to look out for. And as for everybody at home listening, come down and say hello to shop 19, did you say? 19?
Yeah, it's called Messy Nessy's Cabinet. And it's a bookshop, curiosities place. And I can also... I mean, I'm not... at the back of the shop, I've set up like a little thing that looks like a vintage travel agent. I can't spend all my days, being a travel agent, but I can definitely, point you to a really good wine bar in the area. And for more, there's my books, Don't Be a Tourist in Paris, and I can sign them, especially if you've been reading the website for a long time. Just come say hi. It's nice to put a face to a name.
Perfect. And we'll make sure later on, I'll make sure we always sign the books that we leave in there, which we do only for the places that we like. Yeah. So people, if you're going to get our books, that they'll be signed in there. But congratulations, Vanessa, on everything you've done. It's been amazing to watch you continue to grow, and now to do this brick and mortar shop is just the icing on the cake. So well done. Thank
you so much. I'm glad that it gave us a chance to meet finally. So yeah.
Here's to more meetings, more podcasts, maybe events in the future.
Yeah.
So there you have it once again, 19 Rue de Bièvre, Messy Nessy's Cabinet. She might just be in there if you go and say hello. 5th arrondissement, very close to Notre Dame. And she's got all sorts of things on sale, including Seine water, books, and Parisian nostalgia. Be sure to find her on the links in the show notes, although I suspect a lot of you already know exactly who she is. As for me, more episodes every week, every Monday morning. I'll be back with more people like Vanessa, the people who are making the City of Lights shine. Thanks for listening. Thanks to the Patreon supporters for making it all happen. And have a lovely week. Au revoir.